Hi everyone. Thanks for being here. My name's Chiquita and I have a PR business called Chiquita & Co. Public Relations. So I've shared a little bit of my backstory with Nikki when we chatted last week. Essentially, I have been in PR for around 8 years now. I accidentally fell into it in 2016 after being a freelance copywriter for a while, and I was working for a real estate franchise, and after about 12 months there of doing their copywriting, they asked me if I wanted to do their media, and I just said, I have no experience in it, but if you're willing to pay me to learn, I will. And so I did. I've been pretty open with Nikki in that I've struggled with a little bit of imposter syndrome and self-doubt along the way, because I'm self-taught. I've never had any training or taken any courses in PR. I've just basically learned on the job and just said yes and kind of worked it out as I've done it. I want to learn more about it, and I do genuinely enjoy it. So I do PR, the traditional types of PR, which is obviously pitching to your mainstream media and industry outlets. And then I also write awards for clients. I also create speaking brands. So I create speaking decks for clients, write their topics, their key messages, takeaway. And I also have an events background. So prior to PR, I ran the League of Extraordinary Women, which was a female entrepreneur community, and we put on events around Australia. Every 6 weeks we had breakfast, and then we had a flagship event every year called Run the World. And so I love events, and I'm very, very much like being in that female centric community, and I've really missed that. So 18 months ago, I decided to start my own, and I've now roped a friend in to do it with me. It's called FemCon, and we hold events for women to inspire them to step into their full force feminine power, which is essentially our way of saying we want to help women realize their full potential. So we have our flagship conference coming up in October this year. So I very much love working with women, and I love anything to do with women in business and female entrepreneurship. Okay, so I have many problems, and I wasn't sure exactly how to narrow them down, in all honesty. Okay, so the problem is being featured in media is one of obviously the most powerful strategies available to business, in my humble opinion. And I want to help businesses, small business particularly, achieve that. So a lot of CEOs, founders, they're very good at their trade or their craft, but they don't really know how to pitch to media. And that's where I come in. I can actually help grow their brands, improve their brand awareness, their credibility, their reputation through earned media. So essentially we want to help small business, and I'd love to work with more women in business, to be honest, and help them grow their business through PR and executing the PR strategies that we come up with for them. So the vision is we help founders and CEOs achieve their full potential via the powerful platform of public relations. So the mission is to utilize a range of media strategies. So that's not only your traditional media, but awards, potentially putting the CEO or founders in front of audiences and speaking, because I think that speaking is a very powerful way of establishing credibility, and also doing events. And my purpose is to help women be bold and take action. So for that reason, I also want to work with more women in business and to find them wherever they may be. So we help businesses grow and prosper through delivering consistent media mentions, positioning them as a credible brand in front of their target audience. And we do that through a range of media strategies, which I've mentioned. So traditional media, awards, speaking, and events. And we do that through the creation of comprehensive media strategies, and to help them establish a significant profile, but for both the founders and the business in the media. So my strengths, God, that was a bit of a struggle. But I feel like because we are small and agile, and I pick things up quickly, so I am very adept at saying yes, I can do that, and then working out how to do it later. I'm not hamstrung by this is how it's always been mentality, because I don't actually have access to how it's been done in agency land. I have no knowledge of that whatsoever. And so I've tried to reframe that in my mind as a strength not a weakness. And I have a variety of skills that I've gathered along over the last decade, which includes events, PR. I also work with sponsors. So I help clients get sponsorship for events and other purposes. I'm working with a charity at the moment to help them get sponsorship on board. And I build speaking brands for CEOs and founders, and also we write awards, so they're industry and business awards. My weaknesses are I am self-taught, so I don't have any PR agency experience. So I really don't know what happens in that environment. I mean, to be honest, I have seen, I think, 1 or 2 PR proposals in the last 8 years. And the way I just started setting my retainer is there were 2 options in it. And I just chose the middle number. And that's how I started doing it. I honestly just didn't know what I was doing. I have limited knowledge of systems within agencies and how they operate. So I feel like I am behind the 8 ball with respect to that. I don't have those systems in place. And I think that's also hamstrung me in terms of my growth and the amount of clients I can take on, because I just still very much on the tools, doing a lot at the moment. I do have a junior publicist that I'm training at the moment, but she's only part-time at this stage. I'd love to put her on full-time, but I just don't have the cash flow or clientele to warrant that just yet. And I do have limited resources for marketing for my growth, because at the moment, one of my weaknesses is also bringing on new clients. I haven't, until January this year, actively started or being proactive in my pursuit of new clients. And I've only just started it this year. So I'm still learning and tweaking and refining my sales process. And it's been a learning. It's a journey. So the opportunity I would like to move forward with is I really want to, because I've become a sort of a jack of all trades, I feel like a master of none. I feel I would like to help in the future work to really refining my niche in my USP. And because I love events so much, I would love to work across the board and help put on sort of more sort of events for clients. I love the idea of bringing like similar to what we do with FemCon, doing some really creative events and getting PR around that, maybe some influencer collaborations, getting media there, some sponsors, gift bags, just really fun things. I would love to move more into that space, to combine my love of PR and events. And yeah, and I guess to also identify and target brands who would like that style of PR. So not necessarily your traditional just pitch to media, more so to get more creative and think bigger and to attract, to refine my USP, but then also attract the clients with the bigger budgets to put on those type of promotions. Threats. There are so many PR agencies out there, and I feel like they've got big teams, they've got big budgets, they're really well established, they've got amazing clients, just amazing clients, really big names. And yeah, there's just so much. I feel like there's quite a lot of competition in this space, and I feel like I'm quite hamstrung because I haven't ever worked in agency, so I don't know what I don't know. I would love to work with bigger clients with better media connections and bigger budgets to put on, you know, to do more for them across the board, and then also struggling to manage and grow as per. Because I'd like to grow the business, but I just haven't put the systems in place, and I think I've got it to the point where I can with the information skills I have, but I would need assistance for the next step. So bigger brands with big budgets who want to put on sort of mid-tier events or brand activations, and would prefer to outsource it than have an internal PR events team to organize it for them. And then I also want to work with bigger brands who want to combine all elements of PR. So not just traditional PR, but want to throw in some speaking for the CEO, work on their talent management, do the PR, the events, and also awards for the business and the CEO or the founder. So competitors, I would say freelance publicists. There's some smaller kind of outfits out there who are standalone or maybe 1 or 2 people. So those style, there's those smaller kind of standalone with the smaller teams I see as competitors. So I hope to combine my experience in events with PR to niche in that space, because I just love events, I love them. And I'd like to target bigger brands who want to outsource their events and brand activations, including the more traditional PR component. And I feel like I have a variety of skills and I can do quite a few different things, but primarily the PR and events, being able to combine those, write awards, and also build speaking brands and do talent management, I think is a good, solid skill set. Business stage, I really need assistance in clarifying my business offering and USP, my specific niche. And the thing is, actually doing this process has been really helpful for me because I'm so busy on a day-to-day basis doing the doing that I haven't actually stopped to think about what I want to do and where I want to go. So this has actually been so good for that. Because yeah, I want to clarify and be really clear on what my USP is, what is my niche, where do I want to go, and then move into that position to attract the higher quality of client with a bigger budget to execute the events and PR strategies. And I feel like I need a good solid 3 months to clarify, to get a strategy happening and to move in that direction. Because at the moment I'm just being very reactive, and the clients that I have, just because they've reached out to me or they've been referrals from other clients or friends or people on socials. So it's just been very reactive, and I've just been working with whoever's come my way, but I'd like to get more proactive and strategic in what I'm doing with respect to who I'm going to attract in the future. So skills required, so mentors with past PR agency experience in terms of the systems, the reporting, how accounts are managed, the different roles in the business, how much PR should we be achieving each month, how to set the retainers, what to include in those retainers, am I charging a reasonable amount, am I charging too little, too much, I have no idea. How can I continue to grow the business month on month, and the effective marketing strategies to do this and to be a bit more proactive in that space, which I just haven't been. Maybe opportunities to add new revenue streams or find a more innovative way of working within this space. And I don't know if there's a more innovative way to manage the process so it's not, or whether, because in future I'd love to be in more non-operational role.
Thanks, Nikki. Hey, well done, Chiquita. Good work, you. What strikes me about you is that you talk yourself down a lot. I mean, what is success? Well, success is working for yourself and clearly doing that well enough to, pay rent and eat. And so maybe, you do know a lot more than you give yourself credit for. And knowing what others do and how it should be done may not always be the right, framework is, I guess, some advice there. I agree with you. You need to be very clear on what your USP is, and then very, very clear on what the sweet spot is. Who do you want to go after and why? Because the why is really important, and as well as why do you want to go after that particular audience or that particular client, and then figure out, well, okay, how do I actually get to work in the business, but especially on the business, because it appears that you've been doing a lot of working in the business and not so much on the business. And sometimes we just have to create some capacity to do that whilst working in the business until you're at a point where you can actually bring people in to keep on the tools while you then continue on the business development piece. I don't really have any questions. I think the sort of coaching that we do with you is very much about helping you build your confidence around what your brand is and what it stands for, who you're targeting, and then coming up with a strategy of how you will go about that. Obviously using influence and networks through Chief Meta Chicks as well as your own to get access to opportunities as well as perhaps learnings would be one of the most obvious, but only after you're really clear on what it is that you want to go out after. I hope that is in some way helpful.
It is, thank you. Yeah, very true. Need to get a lot of more clarity than what I currently have.
Correct. And the beautiful thing about Chief Meta Chicks is being assigned, your mentors, you can actually really nail that and have somebody objective and unemotional to help bounce stuff off, particularly people like Caroline and I, as well as Nikki, who understand your space. We understand PR, we understand marketing, we understand the sort of clients that you're likely to want to attract that we can then, I think, help you with. So, yeah, hopefully that's help. It'd be great to work with you, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks, Jack.
Okay, over to Caroline, because she is a PR expert and I'm sure she's going to be able to add lots of value and ask you lots of questions and give you lots of advice, and then we'll finish off with me.
Okay.
I guess actually I just initially just have a lot of observations that are pretty similar to Jack. Like I could see there through, you know, the way that you were talking, that you had a lack of confidence around what you're actually achieving currently. I can see that by having a lot more clarity, which you've identified as well, though, you know, around your brand, around who you are, what your focus is, like that sort of niche market that you can actually, you know, step into and grab. Once you understand that, that's going to really provide that sort of baseline for you to then go out and start targeting those different, I guess, clients, you know, that are going to sort of reflect the business that you're delivering. And if that's the events business, then we need to look at the sort of competitors, really look at the competitors within Melbourne, that Melbourne area, and see what that is, and see where we can bring that point of difference and what your sort of point of difference may be, which I kind of look at what you're doing and where you're talking about, you know, your glasses and events and that sort of thing. And I think maybe we need to bring a bit of your background through into what it is that you're doing now, because you're almost the brand, you know, like you're the sort of the spokesperson for your business. And so that actually is something that I think is worth looking at, how we combine a lot of that and other things that you can do. Obviously Chief Meta Chicks is a sort of Web3, you know, company, or is working in that space. So I think there's a lot of initiatives there that you can also look at that potentially, you know, maybe other companies haven't been looking at. So you can bring those kind of elements by understanding that, you know, to real life events, but also potentially selling some of your business, you know, your clients, a kind of Web3 aspects into the events that they run, which is quite niche and is also a kind of game changer at the moment. There's a lot of discussion around that, around AI, around, you know, that kind of innovation. The main thing I think really that stood out for me was just that, exactly that you just need to understand your USP, understand, we need to really look at what it is like. So when you say, I mean, obviously you're a lot more accomplished than you are talking, you know, when you're talking about what you're doing. I don't believe necessarily, and maybe that's just me, that you need to have worked in an agency or that you need to have, you know, some kind of formal training like PR and marketing and even communication, you know, is something that changes so much. And especially now, you know, in the current environment, it's something that I think you learn more about by doing than you actually learn, you know, the sort of 101 in formal training. And even in agencies, yeah, I don't think you necessarily need to follow a specific format. If you have a format that's laid out that works for you and your company, then I think that will be really helpful. And I think that's also where we need to look at, okay, competitor analysis, but other, you know, let's look at what they do. Let's see, is that going to work for you and your business? Is that going to help you? And maybe just looking at, you know, some kind of like 3-year, 5-year plan that you, once you identify what it is in the market that you want to go out after, you know, putting it actually, I guess, you know, just consolidating, you know, what that exactly is. In terms of, I suppose, so what you've set up your own business, you know, previously, like you had the Chiquita range of glasses, you've got the, you know, so what is it about this space and like the PR space that makes you feel, I suppose, not as confident? Or
I think PR for me, because I'm self-taught and because I haven't been trained in it, I think I have this belief that because I haven't been properly trained in this area, then I can't possibly be good at it, or can't possibly be good as someone else who has had mentorship or who has studied it or has worked in an agency with big brands and budgets on big activations with big clients in teams. I think it's my belief system, because the things that I'm really good at in my life or in my career specifically have been when I've actually worked in that industry and been trained really well by a mentor. So I'm very good at events because I've had training. I've trained in that area. I've worked in teams. I've managed them. So I feel very confident in that. Whereas with PR, I've just like literally bumbled my way along, just trial and error. Just learning as I go and hoping for the best, to be honest.
Yeah. And so in terms of that, do you see your company moving forward as more of an events company or more of a sort of PR media, like?
That is such a good
agency?
question. And I think what I need through this process is some objectivity and someone from the outside to help me make that decision, because I've really been struggling with the PR element for a long time based on the fact that I lack confidence in it. But I also recognize that I do go okay. Like I get, my clients on TV and I get them in major mastheads and, but I just don't know if that's in comparison to what other agencies might get. I don't know if that's, I don't know what I should be delivering for the retainers that I'm charging. I honestly just don't know. I do the best with what I have at the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Strategy.
And what kind of clients have you been retaining?
So real estate, I've worked a lot in real estate with agents, auctioneers, franchises, conveyancers. I have a couple of not-for-profit clients at the moment, State Schools Relief and Empowered Women in Trades. I've just been working with the chairman of the National Trust Association, so another charity. He's a barrister. Who else? A guy randomly who wanted a book launch, which went terribly because he wanted to do it on Australia Day and wouldn't listen to me when I told him not to do it. Who else do I work with? I do randomly write awards for real estate clients and a lawyer.
And where would you say, where do you currently get the majority of your clients? Is it word of mouth?
It's word of mouth, referrals, yes.
Yeah. And your business that you're running, that's sustainable at the moment? Like you're making enough money to live on, as Jackie had said you were?
I am.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't want to just survive. I want to thrive. And I'm 42 now, and I want to set myself up and be more strategic about the money I'm earning, where I'm investing it, that kind of thing. So it's not just about the business per se. It's about me realizing that I'm old and I need to sort my shit out, to be honest. And that's why I want to also be serious about this, because I need to stop. Because I haven't really taken it that seriously. I've just bumbled along, and I haven't been, when you say competitor, 3 or 5 year plan, what even is that? Like I've never done that in my life. It's always just been day to day, month to month, no real plan, just do it as it comes my way. And I don't want to do that anymore, just in general. I want to have a plan, I want to be strategic. I want to make this happen.
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing an amazing job already, and I think there's a lot of areas which as I said, you've identified them really in that slide deck that you've presented to us, but they would be all the areas that I would sort of look at and go, okay, we can really help you with your brand. Like, who are you? Who is your company? Who's your target audience? What is your offering? As you said, like, what is it that you're going to offer and what comes along with that? And within that, is the landscape there? Is there potential within, does it just have to be Melbourne? Like, if it's not events, it could be much broader than that. It could be global. It could be wherever. You could be, are you limiting yourself by just sort of thinking, close? And it's just things like that we should just look at and just sort of, I guess, try to understand.
No, that would be wonderful and very, very helpful. I think I just need someone else's objective opinion who's got more experience and can speak to this with authority, because I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah, I will hand over to Nikki, but you've definitely come to the right place. And the beautiful thing about Chief Messageics is you get not just one mentor, but you get 4, and we all have different skill sets, and we all have different, so you'll really be able to
I feel very fortunate. This was very serendipitous. I actually I've been looking for something like, I had just I think about a week earlier, identified, I was thinking, I need a business coach. I need someone to help me. I just can't be muddling along myself anymore. I need this. And then lo and behold, I connected with Nikki on LinkedIn, and I actually, to be honest, I almost cancelled it, because then when I looked her up and saw all her experience, I was like, oh my God, there's no way I can help this person. She knows so much more than me. I almost cancelled, just going, oh, I can't help you. So I'm so glad I didn't. But I'm so glad I didn't.
Yeah, well, we are definitely glad you didn't, because you've got a great business opportunity, and this opportunity with Chief Meta Chicks is exactly why we're here, is to help and support women exactly like you to figure out what that is, and what you're and you're so much more accomplished than you think you are, and you're doing so much better than you think you are. And yeah, I think it's going to be great working with you. So
I can't wait to get started, honestly. I'm like, oh, let's go.
Your great feedback. Just kind of want to reiterate the same thing. You are doing so well. You've been running your own business for so long, and you don't have to have formal qualifications. I think the most important thing is you're being led by what drives you and what you're passionate about. And sometimes it's just kind of, we go to the stuff that we're naturally good at, whether you've got formal qualifications or not. Before I moved into a marketing capacity, I realized I had a knack for it. Now, I actually went and did my master's in marketing because, like you, I felt like I needed something to give me that backup. But that was years and years ago. That was in my 20s. But you don't have to. And it's really about sort of following your drive and your passion, because if you're passionate about something, you lean into it and you learn. And I think the other thing that you should take a lot of confidence from is the fact that you're getting referral business as well. So if you weren't doing a good job, you wouldn't be getting referrals. So I think one of the first things we can help you with your business plan. That's part and parcel. We have templates and processes that we'll run you through as part of your mentoring and coaching anyway. But I think the main other area for you is confidence, and focusing on your strengths and understanding your strengths, and then identifying the areas that you want to work on, but not perceiving them or positioning them as weaknesses. And then just helping you build from there, because I think you've run several businesses. You're very entrepreneurial. You've been doing it on your own, and it's hard on your own, which is why we've created Chief Meta Chicks, because we know that women need a safe place to be able to say, I'm suffering from imposter syndrome, or I need help. And they need the opportunity to collaborate with others. And when you collaborate with others and you build on ideas, then you start to learn. And that's really the fundamental principle of why we're doing what we're doing. And then we've also identified that there is a lot of opportunity in a Web3 environment, and there's not enough women in there. And so Caroline's your perfect example, who has come out of a sort of communications career in very traditional environments and is now leading the charge in very new and innovative territory in the Web3 space, and using her transferable skills from communications and PR. So I'm really excited to support you on this journey, and I can actually see huge opportunities for us to collaborate and you to help Chief Meta Chicks, which is why you reached out to me in the first place. So, our whole idea is business supporting business. And whilst we're going to support you on this journey, I can see that we're also, you're going to support us on our journey too. And that's what this is all about. This is a network where we all learn about each other's businesses and we help support them and help each other grow. So I'm super excited. I think, I'm definitely going to be one of your coaches, because I have worked in agency environments. I have had PR as a function as well. So I can help you on things like retainers and pricing and positioning and all of that sort of stuff. But I think the most important thing for you to do before we even kick off is think about what you love, which feels like it's the events. And then let's look at what's the PR extension to that, so you can carve out your own niche. But you'll do that with each of your coaches. Caroline will be one of your coaches as well. And then there's a couple of people in the community too that have a PR background that are not necessarily working in PR that I'd love to connect you with as well. So yeah, so look, we'll work out who your other two coaches are. If Jack's got capacity, she's on a couple of projects at the moment, but if she's got capacity, I think she'd be great, because she's awesome at killing imposter syndrome, just wiping it out of you. And she is a really good business coach. So she was my executive coach and the one that pushed me to start Chief MetaChicks when I shared the idea with her. So I left the cushy, high-paying job and you know, dived into founder territory and haven't looked back since. So I think someone like Jack would be great for you too. But we'll share your presentation around and we'll work out who the best mentors will be for you for this project. And we're super excited to support you.
Oh, I'm so excited as well. When do we get started?
Right away. So I'll share everything around this week, and then we'll allocate you and send you an intro next week to all of your mentors, and then you're literally just scheduling your sessions. So what you'll have is a spreadsheet as well. So I'll create a Google Doc and we'll basically make sure that we're not overlapping. So you'll have key priorities that you'll work on with each of your coaches. And we'll capture in each session what we've discussed, what your next steps are and what you need to do before your next session, because that's what helps keep you moving.
Yeah.
And you're really in charge of running that document. We'll be sharing your journey along the way. So we'll check in at about the halfway mark, do a podcast interview with you. Yeah, and there'll be some live events that we run as well, which we'll get you along to as well and share part of your journey along the way as well.
Oh, I'm so excited, honestly.
Good.
Thanks for choosing me.
Pleasure. Well, thank you for getting in touch. I think, you know, this is perfect. You're exactly what we need. And I think, you know, this is what we want to do. We want to help women that have been sort of, you know, having a crack, but not necessarily sure what they need to do to scale and grow. And that's what this is all about. So you're our perfect candidate.
Are you looking for more members, or because I have a friend? Yeah, okay. Because I have a friend